Hello everyone, I'm David Law, Superintendent of Minnetonka Public Schools.
And I'm Kimmery Foss, a director on the Minnetonka School Board.
We're glad you're able to join us for our School Board Recognitions Program. It's so important to take time to acknowledge and celebrate the outstanding accomplishments of our students, staff, and community members.
We begin most of our regular board meetings with recognitions to highlight the positive impact that so many different people make in our district.
Tonight, we're recognizing Girls Alpine Ski State Champions, Boys Alpine Ski State Runners-Up, Girls Nordic Ski State Qualifiers, Boys Nordic Ski State Qualifier, Varsity Cheerleading State Champions and National Runners-Up, JV Cheerleading State Qualifiers, High School Science Bowl State Runners-Up, Middle School Science Bowl State Champions and National Qualifiers, and First Lego League State Qualifiers.
We will begin with the girls and boys alpine ski teams.
The Skippers girls team won first place, earning their second state title in 3 years. The Minnetonka girls alpine skiing team now has won 7 state championship titles.
The Skippers boys team finished second overall. The team has won 8 state championships in program history.
Both boys and girls teams are coached by David Gartner.
Before we recognize each team by name, let's hear more about the team's season.
Hey everyone, Coach Dave here from Minnetonka Alpine. Just want to give a shout out to the Minnesota State High School Girls Alpine Champions for 2024 and the State Runner-Up Boys Team. My people.
Hi, my name is Julian Ferralis. I'm in 8th grade at MOW and I ski for a Buck Hill ski racing team. And it's fun to be on the Minnetonka team because I got to help my team instead of just myself when I go down. And it was fun making new friends that I can hang out with next year.
My name is Max Barris and I'm a junior at Minnetonka High School. Definitely the most impactful part of state and competing within it was the team aspect that goes into state. Everyone's involved in it, and normally when you think of skiing, you don't think of it as a team sport. But what state shows is that every individual can add up to the whole, especially our team, which is something I'm really proud about, is how our team was able to bring it together, to work together, and to plan together to successfully gain second place at state.
Hi, my name is Marissa Whitty, and I'm a senior on the Minnetonka Alpine Ski Team. Recently, the girls team won the Alpine Skiing State Tournament, which was a huge accomplishment for us. After not making it to state last year, the girls set a goal to be consistent and fast on the hill this year so that we can make it to state and win it, and it was super cool to see all of our hard work pay off. State was an awesome moment because I got to win with my team one last time and alongside my sister as well, and it was a great way to end my high school skiing career.
Congratulations to the following girls alpine state champions: Brianna Giebel, Charlotte Kinzer, Amelia Sansafar, Stella Stinnett, Safina Switz, Lena Whitty, and Marissa Whitty.
Congratulations to the following boys alpine state runners-up: Oscar Anderson, Max Barrett, Stephen Conlin, Connor Cox, Julian Ferralis, Chip Scott, and Jack Whipson. The girls' Nordic ski team qualified for state competition this year where they placed 8th overall.
One member of the boys' Nordic ski team, freshman Peter Hackney, qualified for state and placed 46th overall.
The boys and girls Nordic teams are coached by Sean Kern. Let's hear more about the team's season.
Hi everyone, this is Sean Kern, the head coach of Minnetonka Nordic Ski Team, and we had a tremendous season this year. So many new athletes joining the program really brought a lot of fresh energy, and that really carried us through. We faced a lot of challenges with access to snow and just weather in general, and this group was unfazed and just did a really good job of pushing through and finding the best way to make the situation as positive as possible. Resulted in a really great end of season with one of our individual boys qualifying for state and the girls team qualifying for state for the first time, and it was really just tremendous to see their hard work come to fruition with some really solid racing at the end of the year. Congratulations, Tonka Nordic Racing, so proud of you.
Congratulations to the following girls Nordic ski team members: Nina Fedji, Sylvie Hooker Reese, Evelyn Malik, Avery Marasco Johnson, Riley Pudwill, Stella Swanson, and Elizabeth Whiter.
And congratulations again to boys Nordic ski qualifier Peter Hackney.
Minnetonka cheerleading has a legacy of excellence at the state and national level, which they continue to build upon this year.
The team won first place at state, becoming 2024 MCCA State Class AA Non-Tumbling 1 state champions and earning the program's 27th state title.
At the UCA National High School Cheerleading Championships, the team earned second place in both the small varsity non-tumbling game day division and World School Cheer small varsity non-tumbling division.
The JV team also had a successful year. They qualified for state and earned 5th place in their division.
Let's learn more about the season from the team.
Hi, I'm Andre Brewer. I'm the head coach at the Minnetonka High School cheerleading program. I just want to first of all say congratulations to both our junior varsity and our varsity squads. This season, you had an amazing season. First to our JV, known as JV Slay. I love the fact that you guys were able to work together as a team and put together a great routine there at state to bring home a better placement than you did last year. And I know that next year you will continue to grow and do even better. To my varsity squad, thank you also. Congratulations on your 27th state title. That's amazing. And also on placing second, not only in the country, but in the world. You ladies really persevered, gathered new members throughout the season, solidifying our team, probably not around until October where we had everyone ready to go. And I fully appreciate the fact that you guys did everything that Dan, myself, and Marcy asked of you. So I hope that you are proud of what you were able to put out on the mat, both there in Orlando and here in Minneapolis. And I look forward to celebrating with you guys at our end of the season banquet next week. And again, congratulations to both our junior varsity and varsity teams on just a successful season. And I look forward to what's in store.
Congratulations to the following varsity team members: Alina Botten, Madeline Boynton, Kaylin Crossley, Lily Davis, Autumn Drews Pulowski, Riley Engelstad, Natalia Gago Cristobal, Isabel Herrig,
Catherine Keenan, Mila Lewis, Valentina Longo Schumer, Alejandra Rodriguez Guemes, Vivian Senescal, Grace Severson, Molly Yanda, and Lily Zebarth.
The varsity team is coached by Andre Brewer, Marcy Adams Helgren, and Dan Weaver. Congratulations to the following JV team members: Alexa Biumia, Natalia Carvalho, Isla Deutsch, Iris Gehring, Lily Herrig, Hannah Hatsung, Cora Hendrickson, Kinley Hurst,
Karina Johnson, Elise Jordan, Zakia Liggins, Sophia Noah, Allie Pluckenpole, Quinn Schroeder, Sienna Steichen, Caitlin Waddell Tui, and Callie Wilson.
The JV team is coached by Marcy Adams Helgren, Ann Corbin, and Whitney Wilson. The Minnetonka High School Science Bowl team qualified for the state competition this year, where they placed second overall.
The team is coached by Minnetonka High School science teacher Allison Peterson. Let's hear more about the team's season.
Congratulations to Science Bowl and an outstanding performance this year. Your dedication, hard work, and passion for science have truly shown through, leading to a remarkable second place finish at state. Your achievements not only reflect your exceptional knowledge and skills, but also exemplify teamwork and perseverance. Kristenza, Mahir, Ani, Grayson, and Michael. Every member of this team has contributed significantly to this success, demonstrating excellence in the field of science. Your accomplishments are a testimony to your commitment and determination. Keep up the fantastic work, and may your enthusiasm for science continue to inspire others around you. Congratulations, team.
Congratulations to the following Science Bowl team members: Mahir Kurana, Grayson Lee, Michael Luo, Kristenza Nielsen, and Anirudh Pulavarthi.
The Science Bowl team from Minnetonka Middle School East also excelled at state this year.
The team placed first over Wayzata and earned a trip to the National Science Bowl competition in Washington, D.C. this spring.
The team is led by parent volunteer coaches Lee Min Shi, Sandra Lee, Walter Truong, and Yan Pan.
Let's hear more about the team's success.
Hi, my name is Evan Trong, and I'm in 8th grade. The most impactful part of competing in Science Bowl was being able to compete with my close friends. Being able to compete with my friends made the experience just so much more fun and allowed me to build such a great connection between my teammates. I'm most proud of how hard our team has worked leading up to the tournament. Since the fall, we've been studying with textbooks, meeting up for hours long of practice every weekend, and all sorts of things to prepare for the Science Bowl tournament. Our hard work and dedication was the reason why we performed so well, and I know our team's perseverance will be what will help us out in the national competition at the end of April.
Congratulations to the following MME Science Bowl team members: Yanru Kao, Alex Ren, Addison Shi, Evan Trong, and Siyuan Wu.
First Lego League is an international program that challenges students to grow their skills in teamwork and STEM.
2 teams from Minnetonka Community Education qualified for the state competition this year: Team Deephaven and Team Minnetonka Plus.
Let's learn more about the team's accomplishments.
My name is Francis, and I'm a 5th grader from XIII Elementary. I'm part of the first Lego League team, named Minnetonka Plus. I enjoy playing with my friends and having fun together. I learned coding and solving problem lessons here. We also received first place in Minnesota Programming Awards and second place in Robot Head-to-Head Tournament.
My name is Alden, and I'm an 8th grader from MMW. I'm in a team called Minnetonka Plus, which is a part of a program called First Lego League. In First Lego League, I enjoyed learning about firmwares and teamwork while also being amazed at how far we've gone. This year, we achieved first in the Minnesota Programming Award and also second in the head-to-head.
My name is Alex Bajork and I'm in 5th grade. The most impactful part about our project is helping people with mental health issues by creating a prototype that will show them their brainwaves. I'm most proud of the season about how we put so much effort into FLL and made it to state and almost nationals. I'm also very proud of how we got second place in the robot head-to-head competition. I hope my team next year can go even farther.
Hi, my name is Vedant Chaitan and I am a 7th grader at Minnetonka Middle School West. I'm a state qualifier for First Lego League, a 3rd place winner in State Science Bowl, and a state qualifier for Math Counts. I would like to thank all of the coaches and teachers who helped guide me to success in all of these programs.
Team Deephaven is coached by Alan Jivanathan. At state, the team earned the Judges Award and was a finalist for the Innovation Award. Congratulations to the following student team members: Vedant Chaitan, Lucas Grovinder, Thomas Grovinder, Suraj Jayant, Adlai Jivanathan, Ames Jivanathan, and Asher Jivanathan.
Team Minnetonka Plus is coached by Wilbert Go. The team earned 2 awards at state, including first place for the Minnesota Programming Award and second place in the Robot Head-to-Head category. Congratulations to the following student team members: Alexander Bajorek, Alden Go, Francis Go, Ming-Chi Mathur, Origal Renchen, and Isaac Wilford.
That concludes our recognition program for this evening. Thank you again for celebrating with us.
The March School Board meeting will begin shortly.
Welcome. I'd like to call the March 7th, 2024 school board meeting for Minnetonka School District to order. Can we all rise and say the pledge to the flag? Can I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So move.
Chris, is there a second? Second. Dan, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We have an agenda. First item up is an introduction of our Chilean student teachers.
Chair Salinger, members of the board, we have the honor this year of hosting student teachers from Chile again for the first time in several years. Attorney, tongue-tied, Executive Director of Human Resources and District Attorney Angie Flowers had the honor of going down with Principal Jeff Erickson and selecting a group of teachers to come up and student teacher. I will let her talk through the process and introduce the teachers. Ms. Flowers.
Thank you, Superintendent Law. Good evening, Chair Solinger and members of the board. I am so excited to be introducing these wonderful student teachers tonight. The district student teaching program with the University of Concepcion in Chile goes back to 2009. This program was paused due to the pandemic and relaunched last fall in October with both the University of Concepcion and the University of St. Thomas and St. Paul. It is the only university-level cross-cultural exchange student teaching program in Chile. The district selected 6 students from the University of Concepcion, as mentioned by Superintendent Law, from a very highly competitive process. These candidates rose to the top with their desire to share and learn cross-culturally, and their strong commitment to pedagogy and student learning. These future teachers are currently working in our classrooms at all levels for the spring semester and have been matched with some amazing volunteer host families. These student teachers are thriving at their schools and are bringing an authentic cultural experience to our Spanish immersion students in the classroom and in their host families' homes. It takes courage to participate in this type of program with a new language and a new culture. We are grateful and proud to work with each of them and our post-secondary partners. With that, each student will introduce themselves and share a bit why they chose to participate in this program and how their experience is going so far. We'll start with Amanda.
Okay. Hello everyone, my name is Amanda Rivas Meliman. I am 23 years old and I'm one of the 6 fortunate Chilean student teachers who have the opportunity to experience a different educational perspective than what we have always been accustomed to. I study at the University of Concepcion. I am currently in my 5th and final year of my university degree, which is in elementary education with a focus on language and social science. I applied for this exchange because I am a very curious person. I want to learn more beyond what I already knew about how an educational system works. And of course, there is no better way to do this than to experience it firsthand. My parents raised me telling me that if an opportunity to learn presents itself, I should seize it. They are my greatest inspiration. They are also teachers, and with their words and support, I had no doubts in applying for this exchange, which I saw as a gateway to personal and professional knowledge and growth. Currently, I'm teaching 1st grade at Minnetonka Elementary School. I find the immersion program to be fantastic. From the beginning, I've been struck by how advanced the students are in Spanish. They are truly intelligent and motivated with the language. and I love being able to contribute to their teaching and learning process in Spanish, which is such a beautiful language. I'm not saying this just because it's the language I speak. Or maybe I am. As a future teacher, this opportunity will allow me to learn new tools necessary to make significant change in the classrooms. Pedagogy isn't expressed in just one way. Therefore, we must be open to getting to know and learn from other teachers as well as from other cultures. Thank you for this opportunity, and I am very happy to be here today. That's it.
Hola, my name is Natalie Campos Silva. I am 66 years old and I am from Penco, Concepcion, Chile. I am studying elementary education at Universidad of Concepcion. I am in my 5th and final years. I am teaching 4th grade Spanish at Clarence Spring Elementary School, and I have 75 students. My main motivation for participating in this exchange is to have the opportunity to work and experience in new professional contexts. I also want to learn and enhance my knowledge, skills, approaches, and directives which will contribute to my success when I become a teacher. And there I team to and there I will be able to draw on this practice in order to share, build team and collaborate based on innovation for practice in Chilean classroom. Since I have arrived, I have been able to learn and experience a new way of practicing education, very different from that of Chile. I have learned how to enhance student skill and also have them enjoy classes too. I plan to return to Chile and be able to share this way of practicing education and its benefits both with my colleagues and my own practice. I thank the dictaries for the opportunity you have given us to be able to experience education from a different point of view and thus open our vision to more method of education and in practice. I'd also like to thank the families and teachers as they have welcomed us coming caring and open arms. Thank you. Gracias.
Good evening. My name is Camila Rosales. I am 23 years old and I am from Los Angeles, Chile, a city close to Concepcion. I am studying to be a preschool teacher with a specialty in kids 3 months to 6 years old in University of Concepcion, and this is my last year. Now I am teaching at Groveland Elementary School in Spanish immersion kindergarten. For me, the most important thing is to be able to make children happy, surrounded by a good environment. That's why I wanted to participate in this program, to learn new strategies and teaching methods in order to achieve a good development of my student skills and knowledge. So far, I have learned a lot. It's amazing what boys and girls can learn the content by listening to everything in their second language. What I hope to back to Chile are all the methodologies to be able to have discipline and love at the same time in the classroom. And I am very happy to be here. Thank you for giving this program a new opportunity, and thank you also the family to open the doors their house. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Alberto Gallegos, and I come from a small town called Pinto in Chile. And I'm 23 years old, and I attend the University of Concepcion. This is also my 5th and last year of college, and I will graduate by the end of this year as a Spanish teacher. I'm teaching Spanish classes, mostly in the AP program, to grades 9th to 11 at the Minnetonka High School. But during the next quarter, I'll be teaching humanities classes. I am participating in this program because I wanted to broaden my perspective on education and how different educational systems approach teaching, but keeping the same development of skills in the students. What I look forward to getting from this experience is to see and understand different practices to ensure the learning process of my students, and not just follow what the way the system tells me how to teach. I have learned so many things from the very first day of my classes, and one of the things I plan to implement in my classroom in Chile is to have classes more focused on interaction rather than just giving information. It is my belief that true knowledge is built through your experience and interactions with your peers, whereas in Chile's educational system promotes the traditional model in which the teacher provides content and the student is just a passive receiver of said content. I would like to thank all of you for giving us this opportunity to become the best teachers we can. And I think I can speak on behalf of all my colleagues, Chilean student teachers here, when I say that I would like to thank all of our host families for opening the doors of their home for us. It is not easy to make such a decision, especially when you do it for someone from another culture that speaks another language. And you play a big part in us achieving our dream in this country, and we are deeply and forever grateful for that. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Francisca Gonzalez. I am from Concepcion. I am attending Universidad de Concepcion, and I'm in my last year of pedagogical studies. I am in this quarter in student teaching 7th and 8th grade in Minnetonka Middle School West, but the next quarter I'm changing to Minnetonka Middle School East. I applied to this scholarship because it was a huge opportunity to acquire innovative knowledge and perspective that I can apply in my future teaching career. My primary goal is to motivate my students and give them quality education. And I'm convinced that this experience will enable me to achieve just that. What are my expectations? Well, I've been asked this question a lot, and I never give the same answer. But this inconsistency is not a lack of confidence, but a change in my state of mind. I like to think about this experience as an adventure journal. Like every day is a different chapter, and I learn new things every day. These things could be like academic, like new strategies, how to deal with students that struggle, how to help them. Or it could be like a new world, a new place, how to build meaningful relationships with my students and get to know them better, like what are their dreams, their hobbies. And yeah, I take everything I learn to enforce my determination, increase my ambition, and improve as a teacher, as a friend, as a student, as a part of an educational community, and as a person. In math, the commutative property states that changing the order of the operation does not change the result, but does not apply in the way of the student learns. In Chile, we give our students the knowledge, masticado, okay, like chewed. But here in Minnesota, my students trace their own route to achieve the knowledge. And it's more like how the teacher guides and supports the student. And that's the most meaningful thing I've learned during my stay in Minnesota. And I'm sure I'm applying that back in Chile. Finally, I want to thank my mentor teacher, Emma de Santiago, my current and future host family, my family and friends back in Chile, University of St. Thomas, Minnetonka Public School staff, and all the teachers I had in the past that inspired me to choose the path, the teacher path, that we know is not easy, but it could be life-changing for a student's future, and that's the best reward I could ask for. Muchas gracias.
Catalina Aravena is teaching at Deephaven, and she could not be here tonight. Another wonderful student teacher. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank our amazing cooperating teachers here in Minnetonka for making it such a great experience. Any questions for me or any of the student teachers? Thank you.
The item on the agenda tonight is a school report from Clear Springs. Superintendent Law.
Chair Salinger, members of the board, each month at our regular school board meeting, we invite a different school to come and provide an update on what's happening at the school, oftentimes linking to school board goals and oftentimes bringing students to showcase what's happening. Tonight is no different. I've had a chance to visit with at least one of our speakers tonight. I'm confident it's going to be a great message. I'll turn it over to Principal Kurt Carpenter.
Thank you, Superintendent Law. Madam Chair, members of the board, thanks for having us tonight. Before I begin, I want to extend a sincere welcome to the school board for our new members and invite you to come and visit us at Clear Springs so you can see the great things we're doing with kids. This is my 20th year at Clear Springs, and I've been doing these school board reports for 20 years. These are some of the topics that I've shared with you over the years, everything from strategic plan update, very serious one, to the one at the bottom where we highlighted certain times during the day what it looks like at school. And this is always such a pleasure for me because I'm so proud of the students and staff at Clear Springs. Tonight, we're going to tell you about our efforts in building relationships, connections, and belonging through student mentorships, both staff to student and student to student. So I took this picture a couple of days ago. It just happened by chance in the conference room next to my office. I was walking by and I saw Mrs. King and Bo, and I thought, wait a second, that's a staff to student mentorship going on right there. And I asked if I could take their picture. Mrs. King first met Bo when Bo was a student in Mrs. King's kindergarten class, where she serves as a kindergarten para. And now Bo is in second grade, and they've continued that relationship. They meet periodically, talk about schoolwork, and if Bo needs to finish some schoolwork, Mrs. King is just the person to motivate him to finish it, but they have a genuine, beautiful relationship. Helping us with our presentation tonight is Assistant Principal David Wickland. Also, Nazea Jefferson and Ivy DeGeest, two outstanding fifth grade students. So, David, would you take it away?
Madam Chair, Superintendent Law, members of the board, thanks for having us. You know, last time I was here and I did a presentation like this, it was similar. We brought some Clear Springs students over, and I did a little coaching in my office with them, and just like that with Ivy and Nazea, I had them just kind of just share ideas around connection. What does it mean to be connected at Clear Springs? What does it mean to belong here? What does it mean to be a mentor? And these fifth graders are truly two of our most connected students in our building. And then of course they asked, you know, what is it like to come to the board meeting? And I said, it's great. I said, Superintendent Law is not that scary. He's the opposite of scary. He's really amazing. And I said, our board is here for you. So thank you for supporting us next door, 100 feet next door, and for supporting these two amazing fifth graders. So like Kurt mentioned, connections is really, really important. You're going to hear some quotes today from our two of our fifth graders, and I just wanted to have these up while they speak today, because I think it's really kind of telling what they are telling us. Fifth graders are insightful, just like our high schoolers, and they can share a lot, and their voice matters, and what they say. If you hear in between the lines, they're gonna say some amazing quotes that you guys could have at board meetings every time you meet. Around the power of connection, around the power of what it truly means to be connected, and what it means to have multiple adults that care about you in the building. That is one of Clear Springs' goals. We talk about that every single year, from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. We want students to walk through our doors, not only loving and caring about their teacher, but also we want them to have multiple adults in the building. I know, Kurt, you shared earlier about different times of the day, and I would invite you to come in our beginning of our day, our morning. We move 900 little bodies in our building from about a 15-minute period, and we talk a lot about the parking line and the line coming in and the buses, but the power of that morning, the power of 15 minutes of adults flooding the hallways and kids getting super connected is really powerful. So you're welcome to come and help walk kindergartners to class or fifth graders in tears and get them to where they need to be at 8:15 in the morning. Mentoring is really huge. So we've learned a lot about our mentoring program. We have about 35 student to staff mentors and student to student mentors. And that's really important. They're gonna share their narrative around how they connect with others, how they connect with younger students in our building. And we know that strong connections really matter. If I go back a slide, we've been working a lot with the Search Institute, and expressing care is really where relationship and connection matters. Our research tells us that students who are connected, students who have loving adults that provide support to them, who expand their possibilities, who can challenge their growth, have better outcomes in life. So the work that we're doing next door is really kind of fueling that. It's really important. I want to give some time for them to share. So these are fifth grade students, and it's really important that they share their voice, and they contribute a lot to the culture of Clear Springs. We talk a lot about culture. So I'm going to go back to our quotes, and then I'm going to invite Nizaya up to the mic first. Nizaya Williams is in fifth grade. Jefferson, sorry, in fifth grade. Come on, Nizaya.
I've been at Clear Springs for 6 years, and during that time, I have learned connections matter and that you can make a lot of connections every day. I have students in the building every other day, both in kindergarten. I think it's important to help others because I know some students need more help than others. And I know what it feels like to need help because sometimes when you're working in class, things get hard.
Nizaya and I have a lot in common. We're both fighting something with our throat too, so go ahead, take your time.
I know what it feels like to help others because I know what it feels like to help others. I need help sometimes because when you're working in class and things get hard, having a person to help is so important. I feel connected with my friends both at Clear Springs and around the corner from Clear Springs and a lot of adults in the building. I can go to any of my teachers, Miss Peering, Miss Davis, Miss Horning, and Mr. Wickland. These relationships mean a lot to help you process, and they know me. While I've been at Clear Springs, having these strong connections have been my pathway through Minnetonka. Even if today hasn't been a good day, there's always hope for tomorrow.
And now Ivy.
Hi, I'm Ivy. I started at Clear Springs in first grade when we moved to Minnetonka. Clear Springs is my home. I have made so many connections at Clear Springs. I have learned a lot about friendships and what it means to have the right connections to people who respect you, treat you with kindness, and make you happy. My friends and connections have grown over the years. No matter who I am friends with, it's most important to treat everyone with kindness. I mentor a kindergarten student at Clear Springs. He was really shy at first, but now we talk a lot, and he has even stopped by my classroom when passing by or in the halls. Our relationship is important because I am getting a younger buddy, and we have someone who we can talk to other than an adult, which is really important as we can relate with each other as kids and being part of Clear Springs. I really feel connected with my teachers and paras. They listen and are good in times you need help or to release stress. If something is not going your way, find someone, like someone at Clear Springs.
Well, I can't top that. But I am going to end with this video. The video is about a minute long, created by third grade teacher Ellie Kroonquist. Ellie also voiced the singing that you'll see in the video. So kids, come on up and we'll be available for questions or comments. Thank you very much.
Are there any questions or comments for Clear Springs? Let's see. Kimmery?
Is this on? Thank you so much. It is, it's really what makes my heart sing to see what's happening directly in the schools. And you guys did
Hear your voice.
I would say my favorite part of the day is like in the morning, because like I go on a bus, so I get time like to walk to my classrooms. And my friend Ivy, her classroom is in a different hallway, so it's like if I go in the morning time, if I go through a different door, I could see my other friends that are in different classrooms and sometimes in younger grades. So that's most likely my favorite part of the day.
Just like Mr. Wickman talked about, the connections in the morning, a lot of that happens then. How about Ivy?
My favorite part of the day is like probably specials class, because then you get to hang out with other kids in different classes, or recess. That's a good part of the day. Yeah.
You know, I hear they don't have recess in middle school.
Yeah, I know, that's very sad.
Enjoy it while you can.
Thank you all for coming. It's always really impressive to have students get up. It takes a lot of guts. So thank you.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
The next item on our agenda is community comments. We do have a few community comments, so I'm going to go ahead and read the guidelines. Welcome to the Minnetonka Schools Board meeting. In the interest of open communications, the Minnetonka School District wishes to provide an opportunity for the public to address the school board. That opportunity is provided at every regular school board meeting during community comments. Anyone indicating a desire to speak to an item included in the meeting agenda, except for the consent agenda and/or information that personally identifies or violates the privacy rights of an individual during community comments, will be acknowledged by the board chair. When called upon to speak, please state your name, connection to the district, and topic. All remarks should be addressed to the board as a whole, not to any specific members or to any person who is not a member of the board. If there are a number of individuals present to speak on the same topic, please designate a spokesperson who can summarize the issue. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Longer time may be granted at the discretion of the board chair. If you have written comments, the board would like to have a copy, which will help them better understand, investigate, and respond to your concern. During community comments, the board and administration listen to comments. Board members or the superintendent may ask clarifying questions of you in order to gain a thorough understanding of your concern, suggestion, or request. If there is any response or follow-up to your comment or suggestion, you will be contacted via email or phone by a member of the board or administration in a timely manner. Please be aware that disrespectful comments or comments of a personal nature directed at an individual, either by name or inference, will not be allowed. Personnel concerns should be directed first to a principal or executive director of the department, then to the executive director of human resources, then to the superintendent, and finally in writing to the board. We do have a timer for the community comments that will be over with Dr. Getty. So our first speaker tonight is Nicole Nayetz-Kleva to speak on policy 626. Your time's not really up yet, don't worry.
Wow, that was the fastest 3 minutes ever.
Welcome.
No, that's okay, Dr. Getty. All right, whenever you're ready, Dr. Getty. All right. Madam Chair, Superintendent Law, members of the board, good evening. I want to comment on policy 626, which stands to be changed today. I would like to I'm really struggling with this. I really am. I got to be honest with you. I struggle when the voice in the community isn't heard. I struggle when we have a transparent process that is substituted for anecdotal stories, rumors, and other things. This board sent out a survey to the community. It was a very narrow survey. The board gets to review all surveys that get sent out. They don't get sent out at the dark of night. And the survey was for IB and AP students, IB and AP teachers, and parents. Very narrow. Why is this policy slated to be changed? Administration didn't make the request. It was said that constituents made the request. Well, the reality is there's an I petition out there, right? 371 members signed it. Now, the I petition is accessible to everybody in the world. There are no parameters. We don't know who's filling the I petition out. Actually, a lot of the comments are anonymous. We don't know who that is. So these 371 members, who we don't know who they are more important to the board than the 441 students that are just IB and AB students who say, don't change this. They outnumber that petition. But, I digress. Our teachers, 74% said, don't change it. But, what do they know? They only teach this class. So again, we have a petition out there, an I petition. Anyone can set it up. That's accessible to literally 7 billion people. 371 people fill it out. And those people are more important than the people in the district. Now, who was not asked? In our survey, because it was a very narrow survey. We didn't ask district residents, we didn't ask elementary school students, teachers, parents, we didn't ask alumni. We didn't ask any of those people, and we still outnumbered the petition. But again, who cares, right? It's just the people in our district. We don't really care about those people. We care about the activists. So at the study session, the board was saying certain things because the survey needs to be discounted. So what can we say? Well, we had anecdotal stories of people said other things. When I asked, can I have the names of the people who said that? I haven't gotten those names, just stories. The board said, we don't know why 51% of students want to keep this. We really don't know. We can only speculate why they want to keep the policy, maybe because it's their highest aspiration. But I don't care about those students. I only care about the one student that came and talked twice to the board. That's what the board members said. Other board members said, I knew that the survey would show, of course, that the test increases engagement. Nonetheless, the policy needs to change. Another board member said, well, I asked 2 teachers, do you really want the policy to change, stay the same? The teacher said, yes. Then I said, well, really? Do you really? Mm-hmm. You guys are messing with Minnetonka. Minnetonka's like a Jenga tower. You're pushing the pieces out. It's not going to fall yet. It will eventually. You're at the top of the mountain, and right now you're turning around and you're going down the hill. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Chad Herman, also on policy 626. Welcome.
Good evening, board members. My name is Chad Herman. I'm a district resident. I wish to talk about the weighted grade policy. I wish to talk about three aspects of this weighted grade policy from what I've heard from the district talk about. One of them is equity, barriers, and consequences, and not in that order. I want the school board to think about voting for this tonight and passing it based on the numerous school board meetings I've listened to and I've attended where the discussions were heated, discussions were very one-sided, and from what I saw there, this will pass tonight. But the consequence of that is you have students that want to take the test, willing to pay for it, and you have students that don't want to take the test, and it's optional. Well, what are you going to make that teacher do when you have students in a classroom that want to take the test, and you have students in the same classroom that don't want to take the test? I asked AP teachers how they teach their course, be it a semester class or a year class. All of them said they do the curriculum up until about a month before the test, and then they do test prep for that last month before the test is taken. So for the students that are willing to take the test and are paying for it, or not paying for it because the school offers a scholarship, so if you can't afford it or don't want to pay for it, the school will pony up the money for you, so that's not a barrier. What are those students that don't want to take the test going to do for that month in that classroom? They're not going to be engaged, where the other students that want to take the test will. How is that equitable? You have students that don't want to take it. What are they going to do for that 1 month? When you have students that do want to take it, they're trying to prep for a test. How is that equitable for both students? It's not. The only way that I can think of that could be an equitable situation is for each class, each AP class or each IB class, you have 2 classrooms. One classroom for the students that don't want to take the test, and then for that month they can do whatever they want with the teacher. And you have another classroom with the same curriculum that they do want to do the test and they do the test prep. The consequence is, if you vote this in, you're going to put the teachers in a weird predicament for each classroom, especially when it comes to test prep. What is the teacher going to do for those students that don't want to take the test? Because they sure aren't going to do the test prep. They're just going to sit in the corner and twiddle their thumbs for a month? What's the teacher going to do? You're putting them in a weird predicament. Or you're going to make the teacher change the curriculum, and how is that equitable for the students that want to take the test? Regarding test assessment accommodations, if you have an IEP or a 504, you automatically get accommodations. When you fill out the application, it asks you. When you sit yes, it automatically contacts you for an accommodation. So when I heard the parents say that last time, that was incorrect. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Felicia Omberger with also about policy 626. Welcome.
Greetings, Superintendent Law, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Felicia Homburger, and I'm here again tonight to advocate for the revision to policy 626. The last time I was here, I was impressed by the thoughtful and robust conversation the board had on this policy. Again, I come not just as a parent, but as an AP teacher and an employee of the College Board and Educational Testing Services. Based on my expertise in this area, I am confident that this is the right decision, and I appreciate the support I heard from the board last time. As you make your final decisions, I want to remind you of some key points. The test is not a perfect instrument. Even the people who created it understand it is fallible, and they do not recommend using it to determine grades or GPA. The best people to assess students' mastery of the content are their teachers at Minnetonka High School, and we should trust them to do so. The weighted grade should be for a student's performance on college-level coursework throughout a semester or a year, and should not be determined by one 3-hour high-stakes test. Any student who does well on standardized tests will not be harmed by the change in this policy, but students who struggle with test anxiety or just have an off day will no longer be penalized when they have demonstrated success throughout the rest of the class. Last time I was here, I heard a concern that students' motivation would decrease or their engagement would fall if we change this policy. Please note, there is no best practice in education that suggests wielding tests over students as a way to engage them. If engagement is an issue, it should be addressed with training and development based on best practice. As for the concern about motivation, I have taught AP for 23 years. All of my students take the test. All of them try their hardest on the exam. The kids who take these classes aren't in them to get off easy. Let's be real, they're not easy classes. The kids are there to challenge themselves. I trust the students at Minnetonka High School and know they will strive to do their best. I trust the teachers at Minnetonka High School and know they can best determine whether a student has mastered the coursework. I want to thank the school board for considering this revision, as I believe, as many of you do, it is what is best for our students in our district. Thank you.
Thank you. Our last speaker is Tara Lee Stone, also to speak about policy 626. Welcome.
Good evening, board, chair, board members, and Superintendent Law. I'm here this evening to speak in favor of the changes proposed to policy 626. I'd like to start off by saying thank you to our board. I know you all have spent the past few months absolutely studying this issue, taking in numbers, research, study, and information that you've received from community members, especially those with expertise knowledge of the issues involved. I believe that when this policy was first passed in 2016, it was done so with well-meaning intent. However, we have come to discover since this time many and numerous unintended consequences of this policy that have come to light, and I'm happy to hear that you're willing to address those. Based on the information that was shared at the study session last meeting, was that we have a few hundred students every year that earn A's and B's every semester in their class and yet do not receive their grade weight because of the test. So these are high-performing, high-achieving students that are penalized because of this policy. Secondly, we've heard from students that those with test anxiety, 504s, and IEPs can be adversely affected by this policy. I have a student on a 504 that has been told by the school that they will not receive accommodations on International Baccalaureate IB tests because of the different standards involved, the difference between AP standards and IB in receiving accommodations. So there are differences in how accommodations are handled between these two types of tests. And yet we hold these students to the same standards. I hope that by changing this policy, we are doing something very positive for our community and for our students. Based on the survey that you all did a few weeks ago, you also heard back from colleges. I think one of the things that comes into play is, does grade weight matter? Based on the Minnetonka survey of 88 colleges that we send our students to, 42 said they recalculate grades. So that means over 50% do not recalculate grades and use the weighted grades that we give. So this will help those students that are affected by that. And lastly, I'd like to say that if changing this policy helps one more student challenge and stress themselves in a class that they wouldn't normally take, then I believe we are living into the excellence of Minnetonka schools. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, next item on our agenda tonight is an adoption of fiscal year 25 health and dental insurance premiums. Superintendent Law?
Madam Chair, members of the board, on an annual basis, Minnesota public school districts need to meet and best practice meet with employee groups and review the available data on the upcoming year in insurance rates. Tonight, Paul Bourgeois will be presenting to the board the results of that committee meeting and recommendations for insurance rates for the next school year. Mr. Bourgeois.
Thank you, Superintendent Law, Madam Chair, members of the board. Minnetonka Public Schools is one of the school districts in the state that is self-insured. That means that we actually set our own plans and control our own rates and control our own plan design. This plan was put in place on July 1st of 2001. So it's been in existence for a little over 22 years, going into its 23rd year. And we are have been benefited very much because over that time, up to this point in time, the average of our premium increases has been 3.39%, much lower than the typical high single digits that has been almost standard for almost the last 2 decades. The challenge that a small group can have, we have about 2,340 covered lives. The challenge that a small group can have is that you can have a spike in your illnesses that can result in some increased cost. We have insurances that cover certain levels that they kick in at various levels, individual stop loss and what's something called umbrella stop loss. But your claims can rise if there's a spike in illnesses. And right now we're currently experiencing a spike, unfortunately, in cancers. And but as a result of that, the recommendation for premium increases is going to be the highest that we've had for the health and dental insurance fund. We are looking at also along with that spike in cancer cases and cancer costs. We also are in an environment where healthcare trend for medical is running at 7%, and healthcare trend for pharmacy is running at 10%. So all that is combining to push our premiums up. So we had a very difficult meeting with our self-insurance advisory committee. It's made up of members of all the various bargaining units and employee meet and confer units. And we looked at what we needed to do. We had our actuary initially recommend a 22.2% rate increase to be able to balance the fund for next year. Because we are deficit spending the fund, although we still at the end of the year will have a very significant 50% fund balance. That sounds like a lot, but in terms of health insurance, you need a lot of cash because there's a lot of monthly churn. So we don't want that to continue to go down too much into the future. So we really need to look at balancing the fund this year coming up. So as a result of that, and I also want to thank the committee because it's a volunteer committee and everybody's there as a fiduciary, and we have a lot of really deliberative discussions, and but ultimately we're required to do what is appropriate for the ongoing health of the health insurance fund. So as fiduciaries, we all kind of it was the roughest type of not roughest, but it just really was a tough session this year because we knew what we were facing. But we made the recommendation that we made that really needed to be made, and our actuary is saying, yeah, that should, knock on wood, if we kind of get back down into normal levels of claims, should balance the fund. So in short, the recommendation of the committee is that we increase premiums by 19.8%. Then we would look at raising deductibles and co-pays by $300 for the base plan and our VIII plan, which is our 2 largest plans. And then also we would be looking at increasing urgent care co-pays by $5 from $30 per visit to $35. For the dental plan, the proposed premium increase is 7%. That's actually the biggest dollar amount. Typically we've been in the 3 or 4%, but since the premiums are so low, that's about a $3 per month single and $8 per month dental coverage increase. So that's still relatively minor, even though it's a 7% increase. So that's the recommendation of the members of the committee. It was approved 12-1. The one dissenter said that he thought we should just do the whole 22.2%, and which was fine. But overall, again, it was the right thing to do to recommend this level to you. Ultimately, you're the trustees, and so you actually set the premiums, and here we are. So with that, I'd be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Bourgeois. Questions, comments? Dan?
I've just been trying to do some math on these. These monthly premiums run for 9 months of the year, not 12, right?
No, they run 12 months.
They run for 12?
Unless if people are on 21 pay, pay through the course of the year.
Well, thank you. I alluded to this at the study session a couple weeks ago, and, you know, I don't like having to vote for this because we get our family's health insurance through the district, and it's going to hit us just as hard as it hits everybody else. But I looked at premiums on MNsure yesterday and today just to compare what's on the open market, and something that's in the same neighborhood premium-wise, you can find lower premiums, but then you're looking at deductibles of, you know, $7,000 to $12,000 for a family, and you're looking at out-of-pocket costs that sometimes don't get capped until $15,000 or $20,000. So it's a hit, but it's still a better plan than anything I could find on the open market that I would want to purchase.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Can I have a motion to adopt the fiscal year 25 health and dental insurance premiums as proposed?
So moved.
Dan, is there a second?
Second.
Mike? We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda tonight is an approval of policy 626, secondary grading and reporting pupil achievement. Superintendent. Oh, I did skip one. Just
417.
417, yeah. Sorry, I skipped one there. Next on the agenda is approval of policy 417, chemical use violations. Superintendent Law.
Madam Chair, members of the board, policy changes come out for a school board for a variety of reasons. One of the more common reasons is on an annual basis, the legislature will make changes, and in response, a school board must adopt policy language consistent with that legislative change. There are other reasons for policy changes, such as input from our staff or input from community, as we heard tonight. But tonight, the first policy change comes specifically from a legislative change. You will note that this policy was originally brought in February, but the board asked to have it reviewed and gather some additional input, so it's here for a second presentation and approval. Ms. Flowers.
Thank you again, Superintendent Law, Madam Chair, and members of the board. Policy 417, the chemical use policy that you have before you, did serve as both the drug-free workplace policy and consequences for students for violations of the drug-free workplace policy. We recently updated the drug-free workplace policy, which you approved, and now we have a comprehensive policy in place for drug and alcohol use. The second part of that update is the policy 417. This policy encompasses consequences only, specifically for tobacco and drug violations. Our drug-free workplace policy and this policy combined support the notion that the district is committed to a safe and healthy environment for our students. The Director of Health Services and I worked extensively with principals on these policy revisions. It was months in the making. The revised policy has language that ensures that we're compliant with new disciplinary standards pursuant to the legislature that require non-exclusionary supports. Our full discipline policy is still in review and will be brought forward once that review is complete. Although consequences increase as violations increase in this policy, you will see that non-exclusionary practices and supports occur at each level. It was important that we ensure that the policy allowed for individual student supports and the ability to be flexible with necessary interventions for students who might be struggling. You'll see that some of the supports and non-exclusionary practices include education, working with a psychologist, social worker, counselor, or other service provider. Sometimes that may also include working with a contracted chemical health specialist. All district principals were consulted on these changes, and they had direct input as we realized the policy looks different at each level because the needs for students differ at each level. It's a balance of potential consequences and supports for our students. I'm asking for the board's approval of this policy as presented.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments about policy 417? Mike?
I'll just make one comment. We had received some feedback from the community that was concerned. The main concern was that this was the various items listed in this policy were a checklist for the administration to use when dealing with somebody who even had a relatively minor offense. And after meeting with Ms. Flowers and Principal Erickson and Annie Lombard-Benson, I was actually pretty reassured that in reality, the way that it's used is basically the list is supposed to be a list of options, and the administration will customize it, tailoring the items used according to the specific incident that happens. And it's not intended to be a prescriptive list of punishments for all things. It's just supposed to be used, judged on a case-by-case basis. And the administration, Principal Erickson, was very reassuring that the intent is to use non-exclusionary practices in the vast majority of cases. As the board representative on the Mental Health Advisory Committee, there is, my concern is that there's such a strong association with chemical abuse and mental health disorders that we want to make sure that those students who have those issues are getting their needs met. And Principal Erickson was very reassuring that is indeed the case. So I was very reassured that this is something that we should move forward.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, can I have a motion to approve policy 417, chemical use violations?
So moved.
Mike, is there a second?
Second.
Patrick. So we have a motion and we have a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we're on to the item of approval of policy 626, secondary grading and reporting pupil achievement. Superintendent Law.
Madam Chair, members of the board, as I've stated previously, early in my time here as superintendent, I had members of the community approach me about our policy that was unique among Minnesota school districts. And while I can't say definitively that no other district has this policy, I can share that none of our neighbors have a policy like this. With continued input from the community and at the direction of former board chair Wagner, in November, the board asked me to gather information on this policy. Through that process, with input from every member of the board, we created multiple surveys to talk to teachers, counselors, students, and parents that were currently impacted by this policy to gather feedback. Sharing that information with all members of the current board in January, we came up with the recommendation at that time of replacing the earn a letter grade and earn a test score with earn a letter grade or earn a test score. And that was, at that January meeting, the administrative recommendation, because that seemed to be the consensus of the board, or at least the majority of the board. That policy was shared back with all teachers for input, and while that wasn't a formal feedback, those teachers were asked to give feedback to Principal Erickson. A summary of that was inconclusive, that there was no majority of teachers supporting changing the policy or keeping it. But that was, again, it was informal. Every teacher in the high school got that survey, and every teacher had the chance to give feedback to Principal Erickson. This policy was brought back for potential approval at the February work session, or after a robust conversation, it was tabled and brought to the February work session a few weeks ago. At that time, the board looked at information from the original survey, as well as measures of how many students would earn a weighted grade if the policy was changed versus not changed. And at that work session, it was determined that hundreds of students would potentially earn a weighted grade that hadn't earned a weighted grade before. I will note that in our current classes, in every single AP and IB class, there are students who take the exam and don't take the exam currently. That will likely be the case. At that board meeting, we discussed the need to measure the impact of this policy. Assuming the policy passes, we will immediately communicate with students because registration has started and allow students to change their registration. Within weeks, we'll be able to measure, did this move the needle for this year's group of students? Maybe if they've already committed to classes with their friends, they won't change. But we would see one data point as early as April. In the fall, we'll have another data point as we look at students who have signed up for assessments to determine how many students, if there is a drop-off in assessment taking, as one other measure of how did this impact that. We won't know student scores until the fall of 2025, but we will be able to survey teachers again at the end of the next school year to say, was there a noticeable change in your classroom based on this policy change? As this board knows, policy changes can happen at the direction of the board or administration based on a variety of data. In the event that that data suggests the high quality of instruction in our AP and IB classes has started to drop, we would only have 1 year of data or 2 registration rounds. The board could revisit that. With that, I'm bringing forward the recommendation for the secondary grading and pupil reporting achievement to switch our current practice of earning a letter grade of an A, B down to a C minus in AP or IB classes and a test score of a 3, 4, or 5 on an AB test or a 4, 5, 6, or 7 on an IB test to OR. And students will have the ability to show mastery to earn the weighted grade by in-course performance or assessment performance. And with that, I'd open it up to the board for conversation. You're going to need a motion first before you can discuss it.
Can I have a motion to approve policy 626 as outlined in your packet?
So moved.
Patrick, is there a second?
Second.
Sally. We have a motion and a second. Open it up for discussion if there are any questions or comments.
I remain a supporter of this change. I do think for a lot of the reasons that Superintendent Law has already articulated and some of our commenters have articulated, I think this removes some barriers that are unique to our system. And I think the data and the experiences of our neighboring and comparable districts shows that this change shouldn't make a difference in terms of whether students actually take the test. Students still will take the test and still have a high level of achievement on our AP test, but we will have followed one of our main goals, which is to make sure we are achieving child-centered excellence. We're getting at those students who we want them to achieve the highest they can and to strive for the most rigorous coursework. These are clearly the most rigorous courses we have, and students who can show mastery on those deserve a weighted grade.
Kemery.
Thank you. I actually would like to first start out by thanking the board for giving us a little bit more time on this. I really do appreciate that. And I also would like to thank the community for spending so much time on this issue. I sincerely respect everybody's opinion on this, and the research and the time that has gone into this is not overlooked from my perspective. So thank you to both the board and the community. My perspective is that I have received many communications from the community that might not have necessarily been heard at our meetings. And I stress that many parents and families have come to me directly in support of keeping the current system in place. So my vote tonight reflects those voices that may not have been heard as much. And I certainly look forward to analyzing the data. I really want to still be data-driven, look at it holistically, as I would do any decision. And of course, I will wholeheartedly support the board as we are a cohesive unit. And I strongly respect all of my colleagues here, but I did want to bring the voice of the community as well. So thank you.
Okay. I would just say also that we did have a very robust conversation about this at the study session as well as in the previous study session. So I don't know that we have a whole lot more to hash out tonight as a result. I think we've kind of all aired our thoughts and had some pretty thoughtful conversations. And I would echo, like, I appreciate that those conversations happened and that everybody was respectful and collaborated and contributed. So thanks to everybody for that, and thanks to everybody who has put input into this. So we have a motion, we have a second. I'm gonna go ahead and take a vote. So if all in favor of the approval of policy 626 as outlined in the packet, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
So we have 5 aye, 2 nay, motion carries. Thank you. Next item is the approval for sale of 2024B COP bonds for Deephaven Auto Q. Superintendent Law?
Madam Chair, members of the board, this district has continuously tried to improve our facilities and our access for parents. And one of those things that has happened over a period of years is addressing the fact that an increasing number of parents, not just open enrolled parents, but district parents drive their children to school. Over the past decade, auto queues have been updated at Clear Springs, at Minnetonka, at Groveland, at Minnetonka Middle School West, at Excelsior. Tonight, we're having a discussion about sale of bonds to upgrade the auto queue at Deephaven. I'll have Mr. Bourgeois go through the details of that and the bond sale. Mr. Bourgeois.
Thank you, Superintendent Law. Madam Chair, members of the board, we're requesting authorization to sell the 2024B COP bonds. Certificates of participation is what they're called. And it's bonds that we use to construct an auto loop that would basically give a second car queue capability to Deephaven. Right now, all the cars have to queue up in a single queue, and it backs up onto almost to Minnetonka Boulevard over the Vine Hill bridge over the LRT trail. That actually also is then blocked for any police, emergency, or fire vehicles a couple of times a day. So this would help to alleviate that and hopefully move most of the cars off of the road and then allow 2 queues to be used for drop-off and 2 queues for pickup. The objective of this project then would be to, assuming we get approval in time from the city of Deephaven, we would be doing that this summer. If for some reason this drags, the approval process is stretched out into May or even June, we may end up having to do this in the summer from now, but the bonding authority actually goes through December 31st, 2024. So we will only sell bonds once we actually get the approval of the city of Deephaven in terms of final approval. We have been told that it's promising, but of course until action is taken, action is not taken. So, but we're requesting authorization to sell these bonds so that we can fund this project and get it completed. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the sale of 2024B COP bonds for Deephaven Auto Q?
So moved.
Chris, is there a second?
Second.
Dan? Any questions or discussion about this? Mike?
I'll just make a quick comment. You know, as a parent who has sat in that queue before, I think you guys have all heard me say this many times because my family really has been around the district. It's a really great improvement. I've sat on the shoulder of Vine Hill Road when emergency vehicles have driven past, and it's just a very uncomfortable situation. So I'm glad this is in consideration.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are removing item G from the consent agenda to do additional research before bringing it forward. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda with item G removed? So moved. Patrick, is there a second?
Second.
Camry, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Time for board reports. Does anybody have a board report? Dan?
Thank We've had our OPEB trust meeting and our finance committee meeting since we last held a full board session. So the OPEB fund is in very great shape to meet our obligations. General finances, I think everyone at this table and most folks in the community are probably aware that we're facing a deficit in our budget. For the coming years, once we finalize our contract with the teachers, thank you everybody, teachers, administration who's involved in that process, we'll land on what this final picture looks like and be able to get to work tackling that. But Paul is no doubt just keeping these numbers updated in real time so we can put ourselves in the best position to do that successfully.
Thank you. Any other board reports? Patrick?
I'll just continue my series of reports on our case committee. We did successfully have a day at the Capitol on Tuesday. We had a great turnout of parents. We were able to meet with most of our legislative delegation, parents, I should say, and board members. We had 1, 2, 3, 4 of us, plus Superintendent Law, plus an equal or greater number of community members joining us. And we're regularly told that we were the largest group that people were seeing go around, even though it was a metro area school district's day at the Capitol. So we can be pleased with that involvement, but we're not out of the woods yet. We still have ways to go to convince the legislators to vote on our platform. So I'll continue asking you all for your help, and please reach out to me or the communications office if you want to get involved.
Thank you. Any other board reports? Superintendent's report. Superintendent Law?
I want to point out that our facilities task force that's part of our board goals is launching, and we will be going live with an application to join that group. That is a group of community members that is going to spend about 9 months studying our current status quo with our facilities and then bringing recommendations back to the board after studying what schools should look like, hearing from experts. That commitment is approximately 14 Mondays from April until about November. But that application will be live on our webpage, as well as we'll be starting to populate a page about the facilities task force. Look for that and then invite community members. We are looking for applications from parents, from staff members, from members of the community at large to join us. We'll go through those and be naming those board members over the next few weeks. Some exciting times ahead.
Thank you. Any other announcements? No? Can I have a motion to adjourn to closed session?
So move.
Chris, is there a second?
Second.
Dan? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.